Well, hello, my honor students. I hope you had a good rest. Now, remember, I think it's next Thursday and Friday, Good Friday and Holy Thursday, we do not have class, so I will not be sending anything out those days. But, anyways, today I'm going to make two videos. It's going to be the start of trigonometry, or I abbreviate it trig. Now, trig is based on a right triangle. And finding missing, wow, that is a horrible triangle. I apologize. Oh, I'm snorting. Now, when it has a little box, that means 90-degree angle. That's what a right angle is, 90 degrees. And it has to be a right triangle for what we're going to be doing. Then, eventually, we're going to expand upon that. What if it's not a right angle? Then we're going to probably spend about 5 weeks on this. And then we got some statistics and a few odds and ends that we'll finish up at the end. So, hey. And just think of this, since you're at home watching videos, I can do this till what, August? Yeah, maybe I will. How about we do this till August? I got you. It's April Fool's. I'm not sure what the school's going to do. I'm assuming it's like the end of the first week of June, something like that. But anyways, the first thing we use is, first, let's name this. First, you name the angles of the triangle in capital letters. Now, you don't have to, but recently they've been doing ABC. Then use the side opposite that angle in lowercase. So the side opposite A, that's little a, side that's little b. Now, the first thing we know is if we have two sides of a triangle, we can always find the third side. So if I have this and this, I can find this. If I have this and this, I can find this. Does anyone remember what that formula is? Yeah, say it louder. Pythagorean theorem. Oh, mercy. Now go ahead. What does Pythagoras say it? I didn't hear you. Good. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So if I tell you A is 3, I don't know B, and C is, I'm going to move this up, 5. Well, I'll put a line there too. Just make it special. You'd say, oh, it's a right triangle. Pythagoras says A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So, 3 squared is 9 plus I don't know equals 5 squared is 25. Subtract 9b squared equals 16. So b is 4. Now remember, it's not plus or minus 4 because this is a distance. Now, we've done this before. Remember the 5 formulas? So let's say I tell you A is 5, B is 12. What would C be? Turn it off right now or freeze it, whatever you want to say. Do that problem, and then I'll do it. Oh dear, I just touched the screen. I messed up. So, okay. So you'd say A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 5 squared plus 12 squared equals, I don't know. So it's 25 plus 144 equals C squared. So 169 equals C squared. So it'd be 13. Now, in this case, if they weren't nice numbers, and I picked two of the nice ones on purpose, but if they weren't nice, then you'd use a calculator to approximate, unless it says otherwise. So if it said exact answer, you'd leave it. If it said like 5 squared to 2, you'd leave it. If it says approximate, then you use a calculator. But in trig, most of the time you do approximate because you need the number to find other parts. So number one thing we use for trigonometry, Pythagoras. Number 2 if I have any triangle, it doesn't have to be a right triangle, but you use this a lot with trig, is the angles. We actually know that in a triangle, that when you add up the interior means inside angles, those three always have to add up to 180. So the measure of the interior angles, that's angle symbol, an interior, INT, is always 180 degrees. Now, degrees is just a way to measure. There's also something called radians we're going to talk about. There's another thing called gradients, which we're not going to talk about a whole lot. But we're going to do degrees right now. Now, there's also a word you don't need to know right now, but it's supplementary. Supplementary means when you have a group of angles that add up to 180. Complementary is when you have angles that add up to 90. So angles that add up to 180 is supplementary. Angles that add up to 90 is complementary. So if I told you the measure of angle A, that's angle symbol, that means measure, how big, is 40. And if I told you the measure of angle C is 90, how much is the measure of angle B? Well, they're supplementary, meaning the three angles together add up to 180. So 90 plus 40 is 130. So it'd be 180 minus 130, which is 50. Now, if this one's a right angle, this is 90, then these two angles would have to be complementary, add up to 90. So if one is 70, the other has to be 20. But the rule about 180 is true about any triangle. Any triangle I have has to be supplementary, the interior angles. So what if I told you the measure of angle C is 90? The measure of angle B is 80. What's the measure of angle A? Figure it out in your head. Well, if this is 90, these two are complementary, which means it add up to 90, so it'd be 10. So do these two for me. Let's say the measure of angle C is 120. Let's say the measure of angle B is 70. What's the measure of angle A? And let's say the measure of angle C is 90. The measure of angle A is 30. What's the measure of angle B? Do those two for me, please. Well, 120 plus 70 is 190. 180 minus 190. No, that would be negative 10. It can't be negative. You can't go into another universe. So this cannot happen. So someone either wrote the numbers down wrong or is doing something goofy. It's got to be 180. So 90 plus 30 is 120. So 180 minus 120 is 60. So that is fact number 2 we use. So fact 1, Pythagoras. Fact 2 is 180 rule for the sum of the interior angles, or they're supplementary. So I'm going to make video 2 right now.